You think Hashirama founded Konoha? Wrong. Hashirama planted the seed. Tobirama Senju built the state. And that is why he is the most important, most brilliant, and yes, the most dangerous Hokage in history. What you are about to see is not a jutsu analysis. It is a political autopsy that will show you how the cold, ruthless vision of one man created the utopia that ironically generated the greatest tragedy in the ninja world. We need to start with the truth no one wants to face. Hashirama was the idealist who dreamed of peace. Tobirama was the realist who knew that the dream needed rules, bureaucracy, and force. Tobirama's political vision is not about love, it is about control. While Hashirama distributed tailed beasts like Christmas presents, Tobirama was building the modern state of Konoha. He understood that for peace to last, it could not depend on the goodwill of a single man. It needed institutions. He created the Ninja Academy, the Chunin exam, the Anbu. What are these things? They are mechanisms of meritocracy, hierarchy, and power control. He took power from the clans and centralized it in the Hokage, but in a way that seemed fair. He created the system that allowed Konoha to survive the death of its founder. Tobirama did not create peace. He created the most efficient war machine in the world, and he called it peace. And the question is your security system a protection or a prison? Now, let's talk about the Will of Fire. Hashirama saw it as love, faith in the next generation. Tobirama, he saw it as state ideology. He transformed a feeling into a political dogma. The Will of Fire, in Tobirama's view, is the cement that unites rival clans. It is the idea that the well-being of the village is above the individual or clan interest. It is the replacement of tribal loyalty with national loyalty. This is a brilliant political move that dismantles centuries of clan warfare. But like all state ideologies, it has a dark side. It demands conformity. It demands that you turn off your clan identity and embrace the Konoha identity. And who cannot do this? Who is the minority that resists this assimilation? Tobirama's Will of Fire is not about love, it is about nationalism. And nationalism always needs an internal enemy to define itself. And that internal enemy we know is the Uchiha clan. Tobirama's relationship with the Uchiha is not just personal hatred, it is a cold political analysis. He saw the Sharingan, the ability to feel intense emotions and transform them into power, as an existential threat to the stability of the state he was building. He couldn't kill them all, that would be an act of war. So he did the most political and cruel thing possible. He isolated them and armed them. He gave them the Konoha military police force. Think about it. He gave the minority he distrusted the power to police the village itself. This is a master move. He removed them from the center of military power, the Anbu, which he also created, and placed them in a position of social control that would inevitably generate resentment and isolation. Tobirama did not hate the Uchiha, he feared them, and fear, in politics, is the most powerful tool for control. The Uchiha military police force was not a sign of trust, it was a golden cage. They were outside the Hokage's circle of power, but they were responsible for order. They became the perfect scapegoat. If something went wrong, it was the Uchiha's fault. If something went right, the merit belonged to the Hokage. This is the politics of marginalization disguised as honor. He used the clan's own emotional nature against them. He knew that isolation and resentment would lead to the activation of the Mangekyo Sharingan, and this would confirm his thesis that they were dangerous. It is a self-fulfilling prophecy masterfully constructed politically. Tobirama created the cycle of hatred he swore to break. He used logic to justify his own distrust. Now let's talk about Tobirama's legacy. He created the academy, which is the basis of meritocracy. He created the Chunin exam, which is the mechanism of social ascension. He created the Anbu, which is the intelligence and security arm of the state. He is the architect of Konoha's stability, but he is also the father of the tragedy. The institutionalized distrust of the Uchiha led to the coup, the massacre, and eventually to Obito and Madara. Tobirama was a political genius, but he had a fatal flaw. He could not see beyond the structure. He could not see the heart. He believed that law was stronger than emotion, and the story of Naruto is proof that he was wrong. Tobirama teaches us that absolute security requires the sacrifice of trust, and trust is the only thing that can sustain peace. We come to the final point, the inconvenient truth. Tobirama Senju is the pragmatic politician we need, but that we are afraid to admit. He is the guy who does the dirty work so that the idealist can dream. He is the proof that realpolitik is cold, ruthless, and often necessary. But he is also the warning that politics based only on distrust and control is doomed to generate its own destruction. Tobirama is the price of stability, and yours, how much is your security worth? Let's delve deeper into Tobirama's political engineering. What he did was a silent masterstroke. Hashirama, with his charisma and power, was the symbol of unity. Tobirama was the engineer of controlled disunity. Think about the Ninja Academy. Before it, training was done within the clans. Power was hereditary and closed. By creating the academy, Tobirama did two brilliant things. First, he standardized training, ensuring that all ninjas had a base of loyalty to the village, and not just to the clan. Second, he created meritocracy. From now on, power would not come only from blood, but from skill demonstrated at the academy. This is a direct attack on the power structure of the oldest and most powerful clans. In the Chunin exam, it is the mechanism of social ascension and elite selection. It is the sieve that ensures that only the most competent reach command posts. It is proof that Tobirama's vision was functionalist. He didn't care about your name, but about your performance for the village. Tobirama didn't want ninjas, he wanted efficient public servants. And efficiency, in politics, is the death of tradition. Now, the Anbu. This is the icing on the cake of his security architecture. The Anbu is the invisible arm of the Hokage. It is the secret police, intelligence, the elite force that operates outside normal rules. By creating the Anbu, Tobirama ensured that Konoha's military power was directly linked to the Hokage and not dispersed among the clans. The Anbu is proof that Tobirama did not trust democracy or goodwill. He trusted the monopoly of force. He knew that to maintain peace, he needed a force capable of acting in the shadows, quickly and ruthlessly, against any internal or external threat. Mini Hook 5. The Anbu is the shadow of Hashirama's idealism. It is Tobirama's confession that peace is only possible through total vigilance. Let's return to the most controversial point, the Uchiha. The Konoha military police force is not just isolation, it is a psychological trap. By giving them responsibility for order, Tobirama placed them in a constant conflict of loyalty. They were Uchiha, with blood ties and intense emotions. But they were the police, responsible for arresting and judging their own neighbors and eventually their own relatives. This generated an internal fracture in the clan. They felt honored but at the same time marginalized. This marginalization is what Tobirama was seeking. He didn't need an external enemy, he needed a risk group that could be contained. He used the clan's identity against them. He forced them to choose between the will of fire, the law, and the will of the clan blood. Tobirama did not create Uchiha hatred. He created the perfect environment for Uchiha hatred to flourish and turn against themselves. And what does this teach us about real politics? That segregation and marginalization do not need to be done with walls. They can be done with honors and responsibilities that isolate the group and place it in a position of conflict with the majority. It is the politics of keep your friends close and your enemies in a position where they self-destruct. The great irony is that Tobirama, the master of water, the coldest and most logical ninja, was the one who contributed the most to the fire that consumed Konoha. He tried to create a perfect structure, but he failed to understand that politics is not a calculation, it is a human interaction. Tobirama is the pragmatism that becomes dogma. He is the proof that logic, when taken to the extreme, becomes the greatest irrationality. We need to talk about Tobirama's legacy in the Fourth Great Ninja War. When he is resurrected, he does not regret it. He does not apologize. He confirms his vision. He sees Sasuke and Madara and says, "I was right. They are dangerous." This is the inflexibility of the pragmatic politician. He cannot admit the mistake because admitting the mistake means that his entire structure, his entire life, was built on a flaw. He prefers the certainty of distrust to the uncertainty of faith. Tobirama is the ghost of realpolitica. He haunts us with the question, what is more important, security or trust? And the last layer of this political onion, that is Tobirama Senju, the silent legacy. His politics did not die with him. It became the DNA of Konoha. The third Hokage, Hiruzen Sarutobi, one of his students, inherited the structure and the Uchiha problem. Sarutobi, the god of shinobi, the man who preached the will of fire, was the Hokage who had to deal with the Uchiha coup and the massacre. Sarutobi tried to be Hashirama, the idealist, but was forced to act like Tobirama, the pragmatic. He tried conciliation, but when the structure of distrust created by Tobirama reached the breaking point, the only solution left was the Tobirama solution, the elimination of the threat to the security of the state. Itachi Uchiha, the tragic hero, is the final victim of Tobirama's politics. He was forced to choose between the clan and the village, a choice that only existed because of the institutionalized marginalization by the second Hokage. Tobirama did not have to be alive to win. His political structure won for him. Tobirama is the ghost that whispers in the ears of every Hokage. Security is the only truth, and distrust is the only way to achieve it. And this is where we pause and take a breath. Tobirama Senju's political vision is proof that efficiency and security can be the greatest enemies of freedom and trust. He taught us that peace is not a feeling, it is a structure, but he failed to understand that a structure without a soul collapses. If this analysis gave you a mental punch, if it made you question your own worldview and your own security, leave a like. It's our way of knowing we're on the right track, that we are breaking the shell. And if you want to continue this journey of breaking the shell and facing the truth behind your favorite anime, subscribe. We're just starting to dig. Now, if you want to see the other side of this coin, the story of the man who believed in peace through love, the idealist Tobirama tried to protect, click on the video that is appearing on the screen now. It is the natural continuation of this conversation. We'll see you there, and remember, water is the purest form, but it is also the coldest.